Welcome to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. Thursday, February 11th, recording in Dallas, Texas. Great show coming up. Knicks dysfunction. We get into Derek Fisher, Phil Jackson, all of the above with the Knicks. Also around the NBA Power Rankings. And ESPN has completed their top 100 greatest NBA players of all time. Very controversial list, in my opinion. Get into that. We'll lead off with NFL player relocation. And of course, somebody gotta get really low.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It just wouldn't be a show without being able to have to really know somebody.
By the way, we're gonna find a way to put the Super Bowl show on here. We had some technical difficulties with internet problems.
Yeah, man, if we came out full swing, I'm talking.
We're gonna find a way to put that show on air.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
I'm not gonna leave y'all hanging like that. But for today's show, NFL player relocation. Who needs a new team where a good fit might be?
Change of scenery is what some of these guys need.
You know, good players, just not the right fit team-wise.
Right.
I think the obvious player to me, I'm just going to lead it off, is Robert Griffin III.
Right.
It's obvious what he can do on the football field, in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
Some people do question that. I just think he needs to get out of Washington.
Right.
Now, where to, it's hard. You know me, I've been on the Chiefs. Just 'cause
yes.
Andy Reid is there.
Right.
And if you're a quarterback, you want Andy Reid, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Especially if you are a quarterback who can move outside the pocket. Like I said, you don't have to be Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, or anybody like that.
I mean, Alex Smith can move.
Exactly.
But he's not necessarily Michael Vick status.
Exactly.
Or Donovan McNabb status.
Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. He's deceptive with his legs. He picks and chooses those moments. Once again, I don't blame you for saying. I think that'd be a great spot. Just before the show, I was saying, if I was the Rams, I wouldn't mind trying to pick up Robert Griffin, because there's rumors and speculation that if Peyton Manning decides to come back and still wants to play football, and Denver doesn't want him, which more than likely I don't think they will. I think they're ready to move on from Peyton Manning. They were saying that maybe LA would be an attractive spot for a Peyton Manning, mainly because you're trying to get butts off in the seats and things like that. And I can understand that, but I still would rather have Robert Griffin.
Yeah,
a younger quarterback who's proven that in his rookie season he can help get a team to the playoffs. But
now, before the show, you mentioned him, and I agreed. I was like, that's a good fit. They have started putting weapons.
Right.
They're not necessarily the greatest, but Todd Gurley there.
Exactly.
You finally have somebody, but there's one man.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
Mr. Blackball himself, Jeff Fisher, coaches that team, and I saw what he did to the last mobile quarterback that came from a Texas State.
And the thing is, what sucks the most about that is, not only did he blackball young Vince Young, who, if you go back and look at that roster and the times he was helping that team get to the playoffs in that division, he didn't have much time. I mean, they gave him Lindell White, CJ2K for a moment.
CJ2K for a minute.
Right, but other than that,
wide receiver wise was not good.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Tight end wise, nobody was even decent. They was a full blown run team, and let's be for real. We done kind of got off topic a little bit, but once again, he never wanted to pick Vince. He never wanted Vince Young with that pick to begin with, but the owner wanted the pick.
I just don't want to see him having Robert Griffin III.
Exactly, because in our opinion, Robert Griffin III is a starting NFL quarterback. Just needs the right system, and I think he's learned a lot from sitting on the bench. I don't mind seeing him come to Dallas, but to be real with you, I question you. You know how I feel about our Dallas Cowboys and our selective play calling. You know what I mean? Like we have talented people on our team. We have talented players, but we can't always seem to find a way to get our number one receiver the football, whether it's a jet sweep, a wide receiver screen, not a. Anyway, man.
I'm just copping for you over there.
That's my only fear about having Robert Griffin come to Dallas is the fact that I'm not sure if our play calling is, dynamic enough. If I'm Houston, I'm doggone sure. I'm for sure looking at Robert Griffin.
Another quarterback on this list of players that need a new place. Do you think Geno Smith is a starter? It's obviously needs to get out of New York. But do you think he's a starter if he goes somewhere else? He's definitely not going to be right away.
I'm willing to buy him as a solid backup, but on my team, I wouldn't want him on my team. I wouldn't want him starting on my team.
I'll take him as a backup.
Exactly. I think he's good enough to at least help you win. In the case of the Cowboys last year, and I keep bringing the Cowboys up because had they won a couple of those games, it wouldn't have been as difficult. Maybe they wouldn't have to rush Tony Romo back, but that season is over with and done. I think he can still win you a few games in this league. I believe he still can.
Colin Kaepernick, you think he needs to get out of San Fran?
Yeah. Right now, I think his best spot is to stay in San Francisco with Chip Kelly being running the type of offense that he should excel in, the read option and things like that. But I could also understand why he would want to get out. But I don't think it's a good move. Him wanting to go to the Jets is that's a defensive minded team right now. I mean, you should want to go somewhere where you have an offensive mind running the team, like an offensive minded head coach. Now, I could see Colin Kaepernick going as a backup right now to the Saints and possibly learning something from Drew Brees. I would buy that.
Nobody takes that route anymore, though.
Exactly.
Bring in a backup to replace their quarterback.
Because like you said, who else is another great mind in when we used to talk about Andy Reid as if you're a mobile type quarterback, you want to go there. The only other person that is I guess on that same level to me in my opinion anyway is Sean Payton. Just because he knows how to use his weapons.
I've never seen Sean Payton without a really good quarterback, though.
No. But he also took a risk on the quarterback who didn't nobody want to take a risk on.
That.
So one thing we do know, let's not forget about the onside kick during the Super Bowl. So
I don't give people credit for that.
What I'm saying is
if they missed it, we'd be blaming. I don't give credit or blame towards those type of decisions.
But I think most people give him props for the fact
because it worked.
Yeah,
if it didn't work, he wouldn't get no props at all. It wouldn't be oh, it's okay. Nah, it'd be
just for thinking it, just for thinking and then having the fortitude to go through with it. That's what I give him props for. Because some people, I'm pretty sure it's pretty big.
Right there. That's what it is. That's a hypocritical. We gonna give him credit because it worked, but we gonna blame him if it don't.
Yeah. That's the way to meet. That's what we work in the media.
That's not the way I work.
You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't.
You just hurt me. It's not the way I work. It's not the way I work. Another player moving to wide receiver, Mike Wallace for Minnesota, hasn't done anything.
Oh, the man who they said has the crackhead speed. You remember that comment? That was actually pretty funny because it's dude has that speed, and it's funny because Mike Wallace was actually pretty doggone good when he was in Pittsburgh, and then he
He's just not number one.
Right.
In my opinion, he's not number one. If he has a number one corner on him, he's not going to do much.
Like I said, crackhead speed can only get you so far.
Another wide receiver, Vincent Jackson for the Buccaneers.
I think Vincent Jackson, if he knows his best, he stay.
I mean, I guess it's because Mike Evans is there.
Right. And not to mention, Vincent Jackson, for as good as he is,
he's not that good.
I think he's a pretty good receiver, but his problem is no different from, like my man says, your best ability is what? Availability. And he's not available when they really need him. A lot of times he's been pretty injured the past couple couple of seasons. So it's like, well, what's the point in having you on the team if all you're gonna do is be injured?
Mo Claiborne for your Dallas Cowboys.
I don't think he's a big market cornerback. Honestly, I think maybe he Jacksonville.
Oh,
And I'm not bashing. Like seriously,
you know
like,
Jacksonville's better, so I can't
exactly
bash that.
like some place where you know what the expectation isn't so high, because yes, he came from LSU and don't get me wrong, I understand LSU has the most NFL ready, like the most players in the NFL.
I mean, Mo Claiborne NFL ready though. I mean, he's a starting quarterback in my opinion. I don't know about number one, but he can play on the other side of a number one.
Maybe so, maybe not. We can debate that, but I just think that maybe being a top 10 pick, with a team that's that's always under magnifying glass like it is right now. I don't think he wasn't what everybody expected him to be.
I don't like people that judge players based on where they was picked, because you could say he's not a starter based on his pick. It's not based on his pick. If he could start for an NFL team. On an NFL team, you have 2 starting spots for a corner.
Right.
That's 64. 64.
Right.
Is he a top 64 corner? I don't think you can list 63 corners better than him.
No, I mean not off the top of my head.
He's a starting corner, just not with Dallas.
Yeah. Maybe someplace, a smaller market team or something, but it's like when you think about you was a top 10 pick for a team that's always under the mat. Always under, like the Cowboys, the Yankees of football. Right?
Yankees win most of the time.
Yeah, they do, but fact that okay, just keep it going. Just keep it rocking. You about to start it? You about to
switching gears here on the sports machine. Moving from the NFL to the NBA
to Gotham City.
New York, the Knicks. Were you surprised that Derek Fisher got fired? Because I was.
I was too. Like when I heard about it,
I was surprised. Like I'm not saying he did deserve it,
right?
Because he didn't have a great first year. But I don't know how you expect him to have a good first year with the team he had. It was atrocious,
right?
And then this year, you're putting new pieces together.
Exactly. You know what I found surprising about him being fired, in my opinion. It's just like the timing of it. It's like, unless they're not, because let's be fair, even though they're in the Eastern Conference and like the Eastern Conference has looked a whole lot better this season, I think they would still had a shot of at least trying to get to an 8th seed, in my opinion, with Kristaps Porzingis, with Carmelo Anthony, and they got some other key players playing pretty well on the team, but as of the last 5 games, they haven't looked very well, and I believe they let him go due to the fact of that. But like you said before, you have a new team that you're trying to bring together, so therefore there's going to be those dry moments. You know what I mean? There's going to be those times where you go on those 2-3 game losing streaks and things like that. But you hope that your coach is still good enough to coach them out of that situation and still be able to get your team to compete.
I think, but the thing is, I think the Knicks do compete.
Right.
I thought they competed last year. I just thought they didn't have it. I mean, their best player last year was like Tim Hardaway Jr.
Right.
And I like Tim Hardaway Jr. He's a good player. But
right.
He barely starts.
He's like a role player
for other teams.
Right.
He barely gets playing time. Some places.
Yeah.
So most places he's like a 6-man.
Exactly.
And he was their best player last year, in my opinion.
Right.
Because Melo being out.
Exactly. And I can't argue that.
I thought they competed, and
right.
Now they didn't win a lot of games, but I've seen the National Basketball Association's team that resides in Philadelphia.
Yes.
That don't compete at all.
Right.
Most of the time.
I can't shoot that down at all, because like you said, at the beginning of the season, this team ain't looking to win, they looking to tank.
Exactly. Like, they already you weren't expecting anything, but then when Kristaps Porzingis turned out to be the correct pick in that position, right. Like, oh, okay, he can actually ball.
Right.
You expected him to win. I mean, look at the rest of the roster. What do you expect them to do?
Here's a question for you. A lot of people was very surprised. You know what I find funny real quick, and I'm gonna make this real quick as I can. Before LeBron James was potentially being a free agent, and you remember at the time that was this guard who could, good up. He was a pretty good spot up shooter at Davidson. Was friends with a guy named, I won't say friends, but LeBron James came and watched him play a few times and things like that. Unfortunately, that player didn't land to them. He landed at Golden State, and then they were left with, I forgot who they picked at that spot. But the whole problem with that was everybody was trying to land a young Stephen Curry only
to get
to LeBron James. And then last year, the player who everybody wanted to draft it just to try to get LeBron James goes and
beats LeBron James.
Exactly. And it's fighting for LeBron James's mantle as the best player in the NBA. Like, some people argue it's still LeBron James, some people argue it's Steph Curry.
I mean,
you can't.
LeBron James is a better player than Stephen Curry.
Yeah, when it comes to all around what he can do,
like,
right?
He's a better player. I mean, he's just, you really look at, he could score more than Stephen Curry. He just doesn't play the same minutes,
right?
Even though Stephen Curry takes most fourth quarters off,
right?
But LeBron doesn't have to,
right?
They're
physical specimen.
Exactly.
But
I mean,
I guess to get back on what I was saying, like I kind of got us off topic. The reason why I brought that up was because that was like, I guess you say, what if Steph Curry had went to New York or got drafted by New York? I won't say went there. How different would this team look?
Carmelo wouldn't be there.
No? You don't think so?
No. I don't think so, personally.
Because I always thought that was something to speculate. Like, I always thought, like, what if the Knicks? Because I always find it weird that a team like the New York Knicks, who hasn't won a title, and supposed to be basketball mecca.
That's debatable.
Right. I mean,
a lot of eyes right now.
Yeah, but according to the Gotham City, they are the mecca of basketball, and so it's like, okay, I always find it weird how this team is always in the mix to get like a top free agent.
It's because they're New York.
Right. And I understand they're number one media, but...
And when you look at it, they're not really... They're in the top for Carmelo.
Yeah, right.
But think about all the other free agents. I mean, only Amari went there, but Amari only went there because Carmelo was there.
Right. And then
everybody else passed to New York because they see what the team is.
Right.
You can see who's on the roster. Like, that team's not going to win. I'm not going to go there.
Not was that team going to win, but then at the time... When they was with the offense they was trying to run was the D'Antoni offense. Mike D'Antoni, who
with the right team, you can win a championship with that with Martin D'Antoni.
Yeah, but the problem with Mike D'Antoni was when he was in Phoenix and he had Steve Kerr telling him, "Hey, if we can add," or like Steve Kerr saw what D'Antoni was doing and said, "Hey, it can happen, but you need to get a few more defensive guys around." And then what is he doing? You can say he's doing the same thing in Golden State.
But that's one key difference.
Yeah, he got the players to
that's
do
what I'm
it.
saying. Yeah, I mean, D'Antoni had the right system. Just the GM needed to put the players there, not him, because he wanted players that could score 180.
Yes.
But give up 179.
Which
when the offense is going to be there because your system's so good for the most part.
Right.
I mean, you need decent offensive players. But look at really the Golden State Warriors. Besides Curry and Thompson, the rest of them aren't really offensive-minded players.
No,
they're more defensive-minded players that they can score because they're wide open.
Yeah.
Back to the Knicks.
Yes, my like I said before, I brought that up mainly because I always thought about that, like what it would have been like for that team had they got him. But if ifs was fifths, we'd all be drunk. What does this say about Phil Jackson? Like how serious he is? Like, I mean,
I think Phil Jackson's serious just because his name is on the line.
Yeah,
it's new for him. Like his name is on the line, not for coaching.
Right.
His name's on the line for something that he doesn't know if he can do.
Right.
And maybe he doesn't care.
Right.
I mean, I guess when you're that successful, you don't care. But you would think somebody like him would be like, all right, I want to be successful at this.
I want to win a championship as a GM in this position. Yeah. This is something like no one's done. And no one's done from his, like...
He wanted to tank and they weren't tanking hard enough. That's the problem.
But my deal is, I still wonder how much did it really hurt that the Lakers organization didn't want him in the office up there. Like, they didn't want anything else to do with him.
I don't think it's that they wanted him to coach. They don't want him in the office because, I mean, the owners want to be in the office.
Right. But I think that rubbed him the wrong way so much to the point where he kind of rushed to a New York job. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to prove him wrong type of deal.
All I know is based on record, because you know they do the balls.
Yes.
They're not in the top 10 for
No.
the draft. So they're not going to be in the playoffs and they're not going to be in the top 10. That's why they fired Derek Fisher. Either you going to tank or you going to win. That's what he did. And
But see, that's the crazy thing about the NBA draft. And I'm going to make this real quick again. Is if you have the right coaching staff, if you have the right scouts, it's so many good players that go and play 2, 3, even a full 4 years in college that are really NBA ready.
right there.
Right. And then some of them don't even get drafted. Some of them, they're like diamonds in the rough later on in the draft that can have an immediate impact on your team, especially when you're playing in the Eastern Conference. And I've always wondered why it's like teams don't bank on it, but then you see people wonder why San Antonio stays so consistent because they bank on those guys that people say, well, I mean, it's almost like people nitpick their game so much because they stayed an extra 2 years in college, an extra 2-3 years off in college. It's like you would actually think that you would want to probably draft this player more because he's probably worked on his game a lot more than a guy who you don't have much tape of.
And you need fit guys. People that those are the same 4-year players. That's
Yes.
the reason they started off 4 years, but didn't go to the NBA early. It's because they're fit guys.
Right.
Maybe they don't score.
Right.
Maybe they're not scorers. Maybe you got somebody that can lock somebody down the wing, which you really need in the NBA.
Exactly.
And maybe
Especially
they
now.
score points here and there,
Right.
rebound, get the extras.
Right.
But you need a fit guy in the NBA to me.
Right.
Which is what, the Spurs do.
Exactly.
Even look at the Warriors to a point. They have guys like that, the Thunder.
And yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's another team that capitalized on later draft pick guys. Like, they built the team through the draft. You can say the same thing about Oklahoma City. To an extent, like when they went and got like Perry Jones III for a minute. Like, he was playing pretty well.
Who is that?
Jeremy Lamb.
Collinson, who always seems to get playing time. It's
Right.
like, who are you?
Right.
Whether he gets playing time because he's a fit guy.
Right.
And he's there for a reason. Maybe it's just to disrupt your big man.
Exactly. But then again, he's like, he could score.
Yeah.
So, once again, I always just wondered about that, I've even bashed my Mavericks from time to time about that, but our Mavericks is a veteran team. They have a veteran team type coach. So
they're what? Yes.
exactly.
They're always going to get veterans.
Right.
Moving on from the Knicks, around the NBA, current NBA. First off, Kobe played his last game in Cleveland.
Right.
Cleveland ended up beating the Lakers 120-111, as what you would expect of a bad Lakers team and a really good Cavaliers team.
Right.
But LeBron James said the fans got a treat tonight.
They got
a treat. Watch Kobe Bryant play his last game in Cleveland. So shout out to LeBron for that.
I can understand that. And once again, I mean, in my opinion, I believe like Kobe looked at LeBron like a little brother. He always wanted, like, I guess you could say Kobe saw like something in him that it's like I don't know. It's like that.
To me, this relationship this is the ultimate what could have been.
Oh yeah,
Because Michael Jordan got to play the Magics and the Larry Birds. I'm not gonna sit here and call him out and say he lost to those guys. We know
Right.
he did. He didn't start winning until they left. But that's on another note. But Magic played Larry Bird. These old Isaiah Thomas did finally overcome Magic Johnson. And Larry Bird. They all played each other.
Right.
Kobe Bryant, LeBron. To me, it's the ultimate what could have been if they had ever met in the finals when Kobe was in his prime and LeBron was a little bit under his prime.
Yeah.
what that matchup could have been. It's like the ultimate.
And some people, I guess you could blame the Mavs for that because the Mavs stopped the Lakers on that three-peat when they was going in that first round when they first became what was they called themselves at the time? The Heatles. When they came and they played the Mavs in the second round of I guess the second time they met in the finals, and the Mavericks got that win. But it's like at that time everybody still had those two teams, the Lakers at the time and Miami at the time, with LeBron, with Wade, with Bosh meeting up in the finals tonight. That was the whole pickup. You remember the whole the whole like the what was that commercial where they had the puppets?
Yeah, the puppets was awesome.
Yeah, that was
the best commercials of all time.
Right.
Have you seen my rings, LeBron?
It was so funny. It was so funny, man. Like that's what made it so crazy. Like they was already hyping it before it got there. It just so happened that, like I said, Mavericks wasn't hearing it in the first round. So it was what it was.
Say something else. Say something else.
You know this topic had nothing to do with Dallas. You do not have to bring up Dallas at all. No,
it do. Like, well, it don't.
But
I'm saying it don't, but it do.
It does.
It don't, but it do, because like I said before, like everybody had them slated to meet in the finals. Like it was like, okay, well, we finally gonna get to see that matchup.
I don't want to hear you rationalize
Okay.
why Dallas got brought up. To me, the more reasonable is, it's sad to me that Kobe Bryant's ultimate rival ended up being Paul Pierce,
Yeah.
and LeBron's ultimate rival ended up being Tim Duncan.
True story.
It's like
seeing the Spurs in the finals had to be like
Tim Duncan's kind of cool,
right?
But Tim Duncan's really older than LeBron. I don't want to say he looks up to Tim Duncan because that'd be kind of
right.
Might be a little bit of a slap in the face of LeBron, but you know, early in his career, he got swept
right
by Tim Duncan and the Spurs,
right,
and then lost to the Spurs again,
right,
and then finally overcame that hurdle of the Spurs. So
like they were his nemesis, the thorn in the what they call it, the proverbial thorn in your side.
Kobe, like to me, what Kobe was supposed to be LeBron, like Tim Duncan ended up being. I thought that was kind of sad.
Yeah,
because I would like to see Kobe go
be that thorn in his side. Like, man, I couldn't do nothing because of you. Like, you just couldn't have sat out a season. You couldn't have retired 2 seasons and let me get 2. You couldn't have pulled a Jordan. You played soccer. I know you're pretty good at soccer, Coach.
You could have took other routes.
Right. Like you couldn't have went to coaching high school or something. Like you just had to.
Something sad happened yesterday in the NBA. The Brooklyn Nets guard Joe Johnson's consecutive field goal streak in the game ended at 937.
That sucks. After he had just had a game winner like a couple of days ago.
Which was the longest active streak.
Joe Johnson. That's another guy like if
so sad. Like it's sad at the same time I can't blame him for just sitting there getting paid.
Right. Because Joe Johnson is a guy. Like did you see that crossover? The crossover that he did to Denver's, who was that? Gallinari? I mean, he had him falling. Like I'm talking, this was not dude on skates. This was you falling. And one thing we do know, when a guy falls, it's hard. But it's one thing, those guys slipping and sliding, trying to catch his balance. But when you can literally make a guy fall, it's like, dude, like, in this era, you will be someone's meme for quite some time. You will be it for quite some time.
It's sad what Joe Johnson has become. He's currently 51 points shy of 19,000 points for his career. He's 52nd all time in scoring. So it's kind of like, what happened to you?
Right. He got paid though.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's still getting paid.
Right. Because let's think about it. Even when he was in Phoenix, as D'Antoni was getting there, starting to get that type of offense going with Steve Nash and them, he left to go where? To Atlanta.
I don't know. He dominated with Atlanta.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like he was a force in Atlanta.
Right. But and then as Atlanta began to get going, he hit free agency, and then who else dropped some dope, dropped some major cash on him? Brooklyn. So it's like you said, I
don't blame you, Joe. I'm gonna let you know if someone come in here and offer me $1 million more than the last team.
Take it.
I'm taking it. I don't care. I'll go to Philly. I won't say the name of the team I'm on, but I'll say I'm in Philly playing in the NBA.
Okay. But that wouldn't happen because Philly would see you as a
Oh, they don't want anybody that can score too much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could shoot us.
You could potentially get 30 points a game? Nah.
Exactly. You shoot us back into the game, sir. We don't need that.
Jahlil Okafor scored 26 points and 10 rebounds last night. Guarantee next game he's on the bench.
Like, sir,
they only lost by 4 points.
What you say? You just will not comply, will you? You just don't understand.
I'm put it like this. Last night, Philadelphia was beating the Kings going into the fourth quarter, and they only lost by 4, but they got outscored in the fourth quarter by 14. No, 16.
Yeah.
How do you get outscored in the fourth quarter by 16 and only lose by 4? You gotta be trying to lose.
What you say? It just don't seem right.
It is not. Nothing positive. The Warriors moved to 48-4, beating the Suns 112-104. Stephen Curry doing what he usually does, 26 points, got 5 3-pointers.
So we know what's going down in the Curry household tonight. Were they on the road or at home on the road?
They was on the road. It was in Phoenix.
So yeah, someone owes him something when he gets back. Taking marks, like little tally marks, like, okay, babe, this is 1, 2, like, yeah, you owe me. I know you was watching.
If you wasn't watching, it's on ESPN. You can go on there.
Yeah,
it's on there. Also, the Celtics beat the Clippers 139-134 in overtime. Really good game.
Right.
Chris Paul scored 35 points, 13 assists. DeAndre Jordan, 21 points, 16 rebounds. And he shot over 50% from free throws.
Well, how about a round of applause for that young man? He made clapping Garrett for him. How about it, clapping Garrett?
And J.J. Redick scored 27 points.
J.J. Redick, I mean, one of those guys who's... I dare not call him Steve Kerr-esque. But... Dude, when he's on,
I don't understand.
When he's shooting, when he's hitting him, and he's hitting him.
He's not Steve Kerr.
That's what I said. I dare not say it's Steve Kerr-esque, but
but you said
it. It's not Steve Kerr-esque, but it's close. Close.
I want to talk about the Celtics real quick because the record is 32-23, so I decided to look at the standings. Like, wow, they doing a little bit better than I had last looked. Mm-hmm. They're ranked 3rd in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics. Now, I'm not saying I'm not a showboat, and I don't like telling people I told them so.
Right. But once again,
I may or may not have called this a long time ago about the Celtics.
That's a team built off what?
The draft.
Yeah, built off the draft, and
we got one. And Isaiah Thomas that they didn't really draft, but everybody else, and that trade they got for Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, they brought them like a couple of cats in there that's actually playing pretty well for them.
Jay Crowder,
right?
To me,
who was a defensive guy. I'm
telling you, fit guys in the NBA.
Right.
Jay Crowder, he's starting for them right now.
Right. And the thing about that is that whole team is young.
Yes.
Like, I don't think no one's over the age of 26. And now I'm not for sure. I'm just
Amir Johnson's 28.
Yeah, okay. That's the only guy. Other than that, everybody else is below.
Starting, yes. I think I'm gonna go through with. I know Jaron Solinger is in. He's 23.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Crowder's 25. Isaiah Thomas. He's 27. Isaiah Thomas is 27.
So no one's over the age of 28. Either way, they're still a young basketball team that, for one, that team has already gotten playoff experience. Yeah. Last year playing the number 1 seed.
I don't care that they got swept. They played them hard.
Right. Every game they made them work for each game. Like, they didn't give them anything. Like, and as a fan of basketball,
that was my favorite series to watch, even though they got swept. I was like, I wish I could watch that game.
Right.
Every single game.
Because, like, they didn't go out there feeling like that's just because they were the number 8 seed that they was just going to let them walk all over them. Like I said, I can respect the team that go out there and play hardcore like that. And the fact that this team is a number 3 seed, and if they can keep it up, I don't think, in my opinion, and I'm a coattail you, and I'm a coattail you on this one. I don't think that, nobody should want to see this team in the second round of the playoffs. And if you are the Cleveland Cavaliers, you sure enough don't want to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't think so.
Especially with the bad blood from last year. Like, bad blood from last year.
I'm looking for some rivalries, though. I want rivalries in the NBA back.
Right.
Back when Boston, LA. I'm talking about Kobe, Paul Pierce. You know,
right.
When LeBron had his little problems with the Celtics.
Right. Exactly.
I want to see these rivalries.
Exactly.
I don't want to see just.
And so that's like another thorn in the side when you say.
I don't want to see the Cavaliers play the Heat. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
They're not a rivalry. I thought there was going to be a rivalry, but they're too nice.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody nice. I want Jay Crowder and J.R. Smith to fight.
You want to see Kelly Olynyk and Kevin Love at each other again,
yes.
like, yo, I don't like the way you broke my shoulder last time.
I can tell you the Warriors and Cavaliers, if they get back, that might become something.
Yeah.
Because I still feel like the Warriors feel slighted.
And I can't blame them for feeling that way. It's like you said before. Don't be that mad at us because we were healthy. Don't blame us for that.
It's not even necessarily just how healthy they were. It's like they're so deep. They can roll 12 people out. That's why they get to stay so healthy. And the fact they don't have to play fourth quarters makes it even easier.
Yeah. It's like you said before. Each guy on that team, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, plays pretty good defense. And like you said before, with the way they spacing, with their spacing, you know, this is like a freestyle team. It's the only thing I call it. That's the only thing I think of. This is like a freestyle team, you know, and a team that you don't want to see coming at you on a fast break. Because all it takes is one person not to cover their assignment, and there's somebody right there in the corner for a three. Or somebody behind arc, and you know, majority of the time with this team, if they shoot a three, it's going in.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'd rather give up the two than the three.
Exactly. Moving on. Moving into our NBA power rankings. We just discussed the Warriors a little bit. They are still the number one team in the NBA, correct?
Yes, without question.
I don't think you would. For a brief second, people started to put the Spurs ahead of them, but I never did that.
It never crossed my mind. Once again,
until they stopped chasing 73
wins
in a season, I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
The fact that they can still be mentioned in that air
is exactly, and the fact of the matter is, no team in NBA history has gotten to where they are at right now, record-wise. Like, record-wise, no team has ever gotten where they are. And might I add, this is a team coming off of a championship season already.
Yeah.
Playing
the fact they didn't lose anybody helps them out a lot. Like, they have everybody back.
The fact that everybody bought in as Luke Walton as the interim head coach for a minute.
True.
Like, real talk.
I mean, coaching the NBA it's very suspect to me.
Yeah.
Because you'll see a coach get fired, and then that team will start doing worse.
Right.
And then you'll see a coach, that same coach, go somewhere else, and that team's bad.
Right.
And then it goes back to that same. It's all about fits. And as long as they're running Steve Kerr's system through somebody. Because I don't think they need any motivation, which is sad. Because usually when teams start winning like this, they need some type of motivation.
Right.
They don't seem to be down because people keep questioning them.
What I couldn't get over is like when the Mavericks played them that one time, and it's going on about a month now, when they played them a few weeks ago, and in Golden State. And the Mavericks they was hanging tough. Now at that time I was just praying the Mavericks can blow it out by 50 points or something, man. And they was hanging tough for a good minute. And they got the lead down to like 1 point. 1 point, fam, I'm telling you. They got down 1 point. And Steve Kerr calls timeout and says, hey, just give me 5 minutes of defense. The offense is going to be there. Give me 5 minutes of defense, and that'll be all we need. And they went out there and they done it. Gave them 5 minutes of hard defense, and before I knew it, it was like no point in even watching the rest of the game after that. So I agree with you when you say, I agree with you when you say like it's all about coaching fit, but it's also about how coach gets his players to buy in, because that he just proved his point right then by saying, if you give me at least this last 5 minutes of the third quarter of strong defense, that'd be enough. And they go out there in the last 5 minutes of the third quarter, they play hardcore defense, and what they do, that was enough.
I'm not knocking Steve Kerr. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if he was gone the whole season, but when it comes to the whole interim for 10 games in the,
Just-
in the NBA,
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just keep doing what's working.
Keep doing what Steve Kerr was doing.
Right,
basically.
right.
Like, I'm not saying he's the same coach as Steve Kerr. I'm not saying Luke Walton go coach the Timberwolves.
Right.
Bad example. Timberwolves are actually all right, but go coach another. He can't go coach Philadelphia and they're gonna start winning.
Yeah, right. And just to make sure I know, like, I wasn't saying that you said that Luke Walton wasn't a bad coach. You were just saying, I was just saying, like, big ups to Steve Kerr on getting people to buy into a system, even though they already are world champions.
Spurs are number 2 to me.
Yes.
Still.
Uh-huh.
Still haven't lost a game at home. They're 28-0 at home.
Yes.
Number 3, the Thunder.
I have number 3, the Cavaliers, even though ESPN has number 3, Toronto. You like ESPN's joint?
Yeah, ESPN.
Okay.
Yeah, the Raptors are no. Yeah, okay.
But I do have the Thunder coming in at 4, though.
I have the Cavaliers at 4.
Okay, so it's just a flop, but in ESPN they do have Oklahoma City Thunder at 4.
The Cavaliers 5.
Yes, they have the Cavs 5 on ESPN.
All right. Me and ESPN's NBA list never seem to get along. Number 5, I have the Celtics.
Yes, I agree with you on the Celtics, and the Celtics come in 6 at on ESPN.
I have the Raptors 6.
Yes,
I like the Raptors.
I have the Raptors, then the Clippers.
I have the Clippers 7.
And that same spot that ESPN has them ranked as well.
There's something I was curious about Blake Griffin's suspension, kind of.
Because the team
Is he
suspended. That wasn't the league,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. Isn't he injured?
Right, he's broke. Like, so he has a 4 games.
So is he suspended after he comes back from his injury, or is this?
I'm assuming that I don't like to. I don't want to assume, but like I'm gonna figure that maybe they're gonna say, hey, this 4-game suspension is gonna be when you come back without pay. But then again,
it might be through his injury.
Oh, that's funny if that is. That is funny.
I was curious. I know about the NBA to be when he came back,
Right.
but I was curious about team suspensions. Not necessarily the most rules involved.
Right.
Number 8, I have the Grizzlies. They played well as of late.
Right.
Still not totally sold on the Grizzlies.
I have Miami, then Memphis.
Number 9, I have Atlanta, and then number 10, I have Miami.
Yeah, I have Atlanta at 10.
Atlanta's one of those teams. I mean, they don't want to be Spurs.
Yeah.
People say. I mean, their head coach came from the Spurs regime.
Yeah.
Assistant to Greg Popovich. I
Come from that coaching tree.
say he deserved the job because he had been assistant for the Spurs for a long time,
Right.
and he's proven that he deserves the job by the fact that they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he doesn't have the same players that the Spurs have, and the fact that the Spurs get late in crunch time. You have a Tony Parker, Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan.
Right.
You have people rely on. In Atlanta, you don't necessarily know.
Exactly.
You're relying totally on team offense, which I can't bash because I don't know if people remember. That's kind of how Detroit was when they won their first championship back with Chauncey Billups and them. They didn't really have
a whole lot, but it was
basically everything was team.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of Spurs before the Spurs were the Spurs.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I could
like
see
the
that.
whole team aspect.
Right.
The Spurs really used to rely heavily on Tim Duncan.
It was Tim Duncan and Tony Parker. Yeah.
But as they kind of progressed, they start getting older. They just now started. You know what? Boris Diaw is gonna score 15 tonight.
Exactly.
Stuff like that happen.
If the playoffs were to start today, you would have in the Western Conference, you would have Golden State playing Utah in the first round. San Antonio facing Portland.
That's 2 sweeps.
Oklahoma City, unfortunately, will be facing my Dallas Mavericks. And then you have Los Angeles and the Clippers and the Grizzlies. Because the Mavericks have just went.
I don't see any upsets in
No.
that.
I don't.
No offense to your Mavericks.
Nah, the way they played lately, like, it ain't nothing to really talk about. So, in the the Eastern Conference, I'm sorry, you would have Cleveland facing off against Charlotte.
Sweet.
Toronto and the Bulls. Raptors Bulls.
Yes, that'd be. To me, everything from now on would be close. Past the 1-8 game is a close series.
Boston Pacers will be a good series as well. And then from there you have Atlanta and Miami.
Like I said, all those would be close. They might all go 7.
Right.
Eastern Conference is very stacked when it comes to competition.
Right.
While the Western Conference is kind of leaning on their top 4
Right.
heavily.
But then that also could flip flop too, because Charlotte's 27 and 26, with Detroit just hanging outside at 27-27.
It's,
So either way-
Detroit would have a better shot just because they have Andre Drummond in the middle.
Right.
And that's Cleveland's kind of weak spot.
Right.
Moving on to the top 100 NBA players of all time, ESPN has been given their list. We've been going through this list.
Right.
And I believe last time we left off at 30. So I'll make my way to 29 to start this list. Oh, my bad. We left off at 25.
Right.
So we'll go to 24. Recap. 26 was Isaiah Thomas. Dwayne Wade was 27. Chris Paul, 29. You know, somehow Chris Paul is better than.
That's why you remember 29.
Yes, that's why I remember. Because, you know, Chris Paul had the.
He was above guys like Pistol Pete,
Allen
Vince Carter.
Iverson, you know,
Yes, Allen Iverson.
Tracy McGrady.
Yep.
25 is Scottie Pippen.
All right.
I could do with Scottie Pippen.
Me too.
24 Elgin Baylor. Shout out to Elgin
Whoa.
Baylor.
Whoa. They say Elgin Baylor's okay. Maybe it's a championship thing. Like they had to just say, hey.
Well,
yeah.
23 Stephen Curry. Yeah, Stephen Curry's already better.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephen Curry already better than Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, all the people I've mentioned, Vince Carter.
See, that's my problem with putting players that hasn't finished their career.
Already better than Scottie Pippen. 22 is Kevin Durant, so he's already better than them. Kevin Durant's ahead of Stephen Curry.
Wow. Now that's unexpected. I forgot that he hadn't even been named yet. To be honest.
21 Kevin Garnett.
Okay. I like KG.
I like KG, but I don't think.
Not top 25?
No. I think Scottie Pippen better than KG at basketball. I'm not saying KG isn't a better motivator.
I think KG's 25, but probably at 25.
Yeah, maybe. 20 David Robinson.
Okay. The gap.
I got number lows, but number 19 John Stockton.
Right. Dang, John Stockton
Yeah,
that
19,
high?
yeah, that's why.
Wait a minute, I just had to really think about it. I was like, dang, he's that high. Like, wow.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I wonder how Richard feel about his this boy John Stockton being that high up there, huh?
18 is Charles Barkley. Overrated. I don't care. Nobody say he overrated.
I ain't gonna lie to him. When he was skinny and slim them up, playing with the Sixers, he was dominant.
He really like he
was killing it.
He's
Especially like a bit undersized.
He's probably top 30.
Yeah.
He's a top 30 player of all time. 18 though. 17 Dirk Nowitzki.
Okay.
I like Dirk. No, Kareem doesn't necessarily like Dirk. But,
Yeah.
Number 16 Karl Malone.
The mailman. Can't be mad at that. He went chasing titles like a champ, but fortunately they eluded him, man. It sucks.
Yeah, well, yes. 15. We have Moses Malone. 14, Dr. J, Julius Erving.
God.
To me,
I thought he was gonna be top 10.
I don't think so.
No,
I think Dr. J might be one of the, because he's so known. He's kind of become overrated, in my opinion. Because I've watched him play, and the classics.
yeah,
I watch him play, and I'm kind of like, he's doing a lot of good stuff. He's a really good player.
dude was phenomenal for what he was back then. Like the impact he had on the game back then. I guess like
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
what I
Like
think about it.
everyone talks about his impact on the game, so it's like
Right.
he's not really up there for his playing ability. He's up
Just
there
the
for
impact.
his impact, which I can't say anything.
right.
13 Jerry West,
Yeah, the NBA logo. Huh?
same exact thing.
Right.
In my opinion, so known because he's a logo that he might be slightly overrated. 12 Kobe Bryant.
He just
I don't
skipped out.
understand.
He just skipped out. He just said like Kobe's 12,
Yeah, he's just 12. I don't.
just outside the top.
I'm just gonna list the rest of them so I can get on there. 11. That's Oscar Robertson,
Man,
the Big O.
yeah. So I'm about to say, whoa,
So yes, the Big O and Kobe Bryant are outside the top 10.
wow.
While number 10 is Hakeem Olajuwon. No offense to the Dream, because I like the Dream.
Yeah. You don't think he's
I'm
top 10?
not putting him above Kobe or Oscar Robertson, especially Kobe. Number 9, Shaq.
Okay.
I'll say it again. No offense to Shaq, but I'm not taking over Kobe or Oscar Robertson. Number 8, Tim Duncan. To me, Tim Duncan's close,
Yeah.
just because his longevity and how good he is, because he's still good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's just getting titles at the end of his career and he's not having an impact. He's
Right.
still good.
But that's because he's playing fundamentally sound basketball. This is the reason why they call it Mr. Fundamentals, because he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played.
So I have no problem with him being ahead of them, even though I would probably still put Kobe ahead of Tim Duncan, in my opinion.
Right.
Probably not Oscar Robertson. Number 7, Bill Russell.
All right.
You average 22.5 rebounds per game and 15
Yeah,
points
you
and
top.
11 championships. It's hard to debate. I would still put Kobe Bryant ahead of him based on the fact that he played in the 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
But just because I don't know the competition back then. Number 6, Larry Bird.
Larry Legend.
It's hard to knock them putting Larry Bird ahead of Kobe, but I'm a Kobe fan.
Yeah.
I'm biased.
Right. I can understand that.
I grew up watching Kobe. I didn't grow up watching Larry Bird. That's just what it is. Number 5. We have Wilt Chamberlain. I don't understand Wilt Chamberlain is ahead of Bill Russell, in my opinion. Because
He has 11 of them.
that's what I'm saying.
He's 11.
Because stat wise, yes, Wilt Chamberlain averaged like 15 more points per game, but how are you that dominant but only won 2? While Bill Russell just had 11,
Yeah.
ran 11 off on you. I never comprehended that, really, in my opinion.
Wilt had the 100, right?
Yes. Another
Such
thing,
that there's
50s
no video. Just such there's no video of
50s
that.
and 60s.
Right.
It's hard for me to judge. It's hard for me to judge your talent, so I'd still take Kobe. Magic Johnson comes in number 4.
Mm-hmm. Not surprised.
I'm not either. I knew Magic Johnson was going to be ahead of. People hate on Kobe. I don't care what they say. Number 3, LeBron James. And this is where I just get confused. So you're going to put Kobe at 12 because of the way he plays right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, LeBron hasn't hit that point yet.
Right.
So he's still in his prime.
Oscar Robertson.
What happens if LeBron James becomes that dude that he can no longer score
Right.
30 points a game? He's now off and on night to night.
Right.
Are you going to drop him from 3 all the way outside to the double digits?
Right.
Because later in his career he struggled? Because he got injured at the end of his career?
Mm-hmm.
Even though this first beginning of his career he carried teams
Right.
on his back?
Right.
I don't know. That confuses me.
You know, I like I said,
It's like a double standard to me.
For me, I'm just saying that guys who are still playing, even for Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant. Tim Duncan and Kobe is those guys who are, like you said, they're kind of
They're on their way out.
Exactly. So I don't mind them being
Seeing
ranked
their
as high as they are, but guys who are still playing shouldn't be ranked. I don't think they should be ranked ahead of like some all-time greats that's been on this list.
Like
I'm not saying that they shouldn't be on the list, but I'm saying there's no way that they should be ranked ahead of them because their careers are still.
I feel you.
Still,
I don't understand
manifest.
I don't understand how LeBron James is ahead of Tim Duncan. Tell me what LeBron James has done better than Tim Duncan.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
If I'm correct, Tim Duncan has beaten LeBron James twice in the finals.
Right.
LeBron James has beaten him once.
Right.
That's current.
Yes.
That's recent.
Right.
1-1.
So, I'm kind of wondering with these rankings, was it just kind of based on like the impact that they had on the game? Because that's what it kind of seems like this list is all about.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I think. It's not based, like, to me, it's not based on what you accomplished. Number 2 is Kareem. I'll take Kobe and Tim Duncan over Kareem, in my opinion. That's just me. Number 1 is Michael Jordan.
Right.
Michael Jordan was going to be number 1. Can't debate it.
Right.
Even though I will debate it.
I knew Michael Jordan was going to be top 5. I knew Michael Jordan was going to be top 5. I can't lie about it. I was kind of see where he would fall in between, like fall in that mark.
I knew he'd be number 1.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
And once again, I can understand why. I can understand why when you look at the fact that, Houston went back to back because Jordan was out of the league. Otherwise, a lot of people believe that they won 6 straight. A lot of people believe it. Once again, if ifs was flips, we'd all be drunk. But
exactly, I hate that. No, I don't
that
like,
whole
don't
what
like
if,
it.
right?
Yeah, the whole he would have won.
Right.
All that.
Right.
Okay. What if he would have played in one of those 2 seasons, got hurt,
Exactly.
and he only won 4?
Right.
Because he got that next championship, but because he didn't take a break, he got hurt.
Right. So he had a lot more mileage on the legs for 2 years compared to
And
guys.
so he had 2 years of rest, came back, and I don't know.
Right.
I can debate
2 years of NBA rest.
Exactly. Like, I ain't count baseball. Okay.
Yeah, you not like
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. I would
Okay.
not. That was his baseball career.
Oh, I caught it. Don't worry, I caught that. I caught it.
Things in sports to make you say really though. My really though goes to the people that made this list of the top 100 NBA players of all time on ESPN. You should check it out. Kobe Bryant outside the top 10 to me, and Allen Iverson being where he's at behind Allen Iverson being behind Chris Paul, and Kobe Bryant being behind LeBron, and pretty much half the other people that have him. I'm not gonna complain about Magic or Larry Bird. Even
Right.
I personally would have him ahead of him because if Michael Jordan's number 1 to me, there's no doubt that Kobe Bryant's the closest thing to Michael Jordan.
Yes. Especially from being competitive, sticking with one team, winning all the championships with they kind of like that one team. Now, granted, Jordan went.
I mean, I don't count Jordan leaving.
Right.
I don't count that.
Right.
If I don't count his baseball career,
But at the apex of his career, he was a Bull.
yes.
And same thing with Kobe. At the apex of his career, he was a Laker.
Say Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan was close to me. Me and Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant was like battling for 2.
Mainly because earlier in their careers, they had those battles,
Yeah.
epic
So
Spurs versus
I
Lakers
usually
battles.
take Kobe Bryant barely over Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
And I think the Kobe Bryant Michael Jordan discussion is a lot closer than what people say it is. The difference isn't 11 people, that's for sure.
Right.
Shaq being ahead of Kobe is a travesty. I'm sorry, yes, Shaq is more likable. He's a more likable person. You
Right.
can like Shaq more than you like Kobe Bryant, but there's no doubt that Kobe Bryant was better off without Shaq than Shaq was without Kobe.
What I like about Kobe, and I learned about Kobe because, like, for me, I was that kid who rooted against Jordan's Bulls when they was playing the Jazz back in the finals. Like, I was the guy who felt like Byron Russell got fouled. Like, it was an offensive foul, but he made the play. I was that guy, like, even early on in my life, when watching Kobe Bryant play, I felt the same way about Kobe Bryant. And it hasn't been as until I've gotten to actually sit back and watch old Kobe Bryant games when he was Kobe number 8, and I was like, goodness gracious, man! Like, how could I what was wrong with me as a kid to dislike this guy? It is just because of the fact that they was just the most popular players, and me being an underdog guy. I like to root for the underdog team, and that was the whole deal with that. It was never nothing on a personal level.
Exactly.
Me not liking it, but it was always about it's just like, man, like, dude, you got like y'all won 3 straight. Can we get somebody else a chance?
You know me, I didn't necessarily just like Kobe Bryant, especially Derek Fisher.
Oh,
because, I'm a Spurs fan.
Right.
The Lakers was sitting there taking away championships away from the Spurs. I'm like,
right. Big shot Robert Horry.
Exactly. Like, I wasn't necessarily a big fan of them either, but I said Kobe Bryant's that dude.
Exactly. Especially when you look at how he went and learned the dream shake and the post up, the way he worked on his craft. Can't hate a guy like that.
Cannot. So having him 12, really though,
yeah,
in my opinion, it's really dope.
No, it is, and I'm with you on it due to the fact that I look at guys like Pistol Pete, who's like way up, high up,
71, I think.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
And I'm sitting back thinking to myself, like, I don't think people understand that the shots this guy was making, that was no 3-point line at the time, so he could arguably be higher on the scoring list had they had a 3-point shot back then. But once again, I mean, my really though to him is like that. I'm coattailing it what you do to the fact that I don't think that current players, especially current players in their prime or going into their prime years of their career, shouldn't be higher than all-time greats who've already done it.
Exactly.
So I agree with you for this really though. I'm joining in on the really though with this one.
This is based on facts.
Yes.
20 years from now, 10 years from now, after all these players retire, half of them are going to be outside this list.
Yeah, most
because
definitely.
There's no way all of them are winning championships.
Right.
Like it or not. Either Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook.
Yes.
Some of these guys are not going to win a championship.
Right.
Carmelo Anthony's. And that's going to move them down.
Right.
Unless you have a Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson type career.
Right.
In which it overcomes that.
And like with Elgin Baylor, it's not his fault that he came across the teams that he came across at that time.
It's not.
That's my deal. Like, I know I didn't get a chance to watch him play. Like I said, when you get to looking at his numbers and just some of the things that he did do, it's like, wow.
I thought James Worthy was too far.
Yeah.
To me, James Worthy was that guy.
Right. So
same type of deal.
Right.
End of the week for us.
Most
out that Deadpool tomorrow.
Yes, most definitely. So when we come back, we most definitely gonna drop y'all a line and let you know how we feel about that Deadpool movie. So
look forward to that.
Yes, sir.
Next week right here on the Sports Machine.
Peace out.